Wednesday, December 4th, class with Reverend Ann Hart. The umbilical mind, which is umbilical, is the solar plexus. That is the grand central station of the nervous and mental systems. It's slap dab in the middle. That's one way to remember it. That's how Jim says it. It's 1.25 inches above your navel. That controls everything. It controls everything. In fact, when you're a medium, a physical medium, and spirit is extracting ectoplasm from you, it comes out through your navel. It comes out through your mouth. I think I told you all this before. It comes out any orifice. But the main one is right through. They'll take the trumpet during a seance. Like, I'll give you an example. Reverend Tingley's been ill. We all know that. So during the seances, I try to send him energy, and so does everybody else in the room. And the way to do that is to sit like this with your feet flat on the floor, your hands on your knees, down. Sending is down. Receiving is up. So, and the spirits will take that trumpet and actually put it right on your solar plexus. They do it to me a lot. And they'll take it right out of your solar plexus to give the energy to the medium and to take the ectoplasm out of the body. Faith without works is dead. That's a line from the Bible. And what that means in the spiritualist connotation is that you can have all the faith in the world, but if you don't put it to practice in your life, and if you don't do for humanity, it's worthless. I mean, I've seen a lot of pious people that go to church and they don't live it. And you have to be active. You have to take a part, especially in spiritualism. Is required for mediumship is to live out what you learn, to give it out, to give it back, because you get so much more. Okay, I told you the fingertips have the psychic beads. That is beads, and we call Jesus the Christ, which means that there are Jesus is his name, Christ is avatar, teacher, like who was Buddha is the Christ. Who are some of the other ones? Maybe Gandhi. Who's that? Muhammad. Those people are all way showers. They are all lights. They are all teachers, and they are all Christ. But so we call him Jesus the Christ, because he is one. He is the greatest one, and the one that has reached the most people. Reverend Tingley says, the fingers teach you what to do in every line of work. Use them for positive goodness. The fingertips are so sensitive to vibration, which is why psychometry works, because you can pick up that vibration. And usually psychometry works on metal. Metal objects are easier to get psychometrized. I know it is for me. It just depends on the individual mediumship. But for me, metal is definitely, and for a lot of people, metal's a lot easier to pick up on. This is the pineal gland, right here. Everybody knows that, pineal, or psychic gland. We tend not to call it the third eye in this spiritualist teaching. We call it the pineal. I told you before that feeling is far deeper than thought. which brings us to mental and physical mediumships. There are two types of mediumship, mental and physical. Mental is clairaudience, clairvoyance, that type where you use the mind. Physical mediumship is when the trumpet goes up, when actually something is moved or physically picked up. That is physical mediumship. Trance is a physical mediumship. Trumpet is. Precipitation is. Now, on the law of attraction, we're going to study the different laws, and the one we're going to go into a little bit is the law of attraction. And that is how our guides are guided to us. Every person, according to their spiritual development, sends a light up from their being. There is a light. And Spirit will actually come in a seance and say, I was attracted by the light. And when there are a lot of spiritual people, like in this group tonight, their spirit would be here because they would see those lights. And you might get other spirits besides your guides, but it's the law of attraction. They are coming in because of a high vibration, because the light is being sent up from the individuals. Anyway, spirits are drawn to you according to your personality, according to the way you think. And they're drawn like a magnet. They have jobs in spirit just like we do here. Their jobs are to help us. Do you all know how many guides, like the different basic guides you have, and then the extra ones you attract? Do you know about that? Okay, you have a master teacher. You have a doctor of philosophy. Philosophy, I think. I have to write it. I don't have a pen. Philosophy. Philosophy. Let me write it out. Okay, Philosophy. Okay, you have a doctor, a master, a doctor of philosophy, and then a medical doctor that helps with curing things in the body, the physical things, body chemistry. Everybody is chemicalized for mediumship. Your spirit guides can actually put chemicals in your body, in your food, and they do it all the time.
Water by your bed?
Yes. If you take... Yes.
Chemist is the chemist?
Yes, the chemist is... Yes. Yeah. But I was trying... The reason I said medical, I'm trying to explain that he works on the physical body. Okay. And then you have your Indian. All Indians are not chiefs. Some are, some aren't. It doesn't matter. They don't go by titles in spirit. They are just there to help you. And Indians help with physical life. They know what you go through. And they are right there to help. So call, when you're having problems with your physical life, things aren't going right, call on your guides, but especially your Indians. And then you have a joy guide. Now the more you progress, the more doctors, teachers, lawyers, and Indian chiefs you'll have. You know, you attract more and more and more. I don't know that there's any limit on it. I've heard numbers given, but I don't quite buy it. I think that the more you progress, the more you draw.
Some say some come in for a certain purpose.
That's right.
Like a lawyer or
That's right.
a law, and then they leave. And
That's right.
I don't know.
Well, Corinne had an example the other day. Her car wouldn't work, and Spirit told her in the seance room that was a condition that should be healed. And they sent a mechanic, and they gave his name, and he was someone that O.W. knew. And he was a mechanic on the earth plane, but he was sent just for that time to fix her car, and he did. That's just one example. There's a million of them, billions of them. But they are sent, some of them, for certain purpose. Those are your inner band.
up physically too. Laura had that happen to her.
Mm-hmm.
When you broke down from the garbage place and you were really afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Neighborhood.
Yeah. And her guide showed
And
up?
I knew I had to call her, and she said, "Well, I broke down this morning.
Mhm.
So I tired of it."
No, it was really funny.
Well, I woke
got
up
it.
and I knew she needed me.
I
that
was
morning,
in
but I didn't know how to get a hold of her. She was
school.
gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm driving a truck, and it had a flat tire in front of a very bad neighborhood. And I thought, well, the thing's still moving. I'm moving as long as it moves. But I drove about 4 miles like that, and I had about another 3 miles to get to a garage. And I thought, I am not going to walk up to somebody's house and knock on their door. A lady backed out of her driveway. I already passed her house, went in front of me and said, "Do you have a spare tire? My son will put it on for you."
That's great. Yeah.
I
Your
mean,
guides will send them.
hey, I mean, she chased me down the
Uh-huh.
road.
The more spiritual you are, the more things like that will happen to you. Your life honestly becomes almost like a charmed life. Sure, you're going to have problems, but you get so much help that it doesn't really matter. You get all the help you need to overcome them. It's wonderful.
And I heard we're supposed to let them. If we don't, then we stagnate. They're
That's right.
karma.
That's
They're
part of the lesson
help,
tonight.
they're whatever.
That's right. You have to let your guides work for you. They work with you, not for you, but they work with you. And yeah, they work with you, and you have to let them be gracious to them. Thank them for their help above all. Spirit is very sensitive. Yes.
I didn't realize this until about 3 or 4 days ago. Okay, I have crutches, and it was icy, and I slipped just about that much.
Mhm.
And something stopped. But, I mean, if it would have kept on slipping,
That's
I
right. You would have been.
down.
Yeah.
And it's the first time my guide stopped that somehow.
That's right.
It-
They can do
I don't
those
know how.
things.
And I said, thank you. And for all the times I forgot to thank you before,
Yeah.
because they didn't realize it.
Always thank them and realize where it comes from, because so many of our ideas and our inspirations come from God. They come from our spirit loved ones, our guides. They don't come from us. Not all of them. They have to have framework to work through. They have to have the basic raw material. But they are very inspirational, and they are the creative ingenue. We are the creative ingenue. And they do work through that way. They will work through other people. They will work through your own mind. Oh yeah, they sure do. Like that lady that stopped to help Laurel. Guides were working through her. They were saying, "Hey, go help that lady," you know. And she picked up on it. So that's how it works. We are God's arms and hands and legs, and it is our responsibility to serve humanity, and that is how we serve God. And that is the only way to progress. It's the only way to get mediumship. It's the only way to have a good life. Yes, we did. Made sure of that. See, because Lori's got a key. She can get in because she's on the board. She's got a key. Okay. You also have an outer band of guides. Yes, an inner and outer band. If you don't know your guides' names and you want to call on them all, say my inner and outer band. That's all you have to say. Those are guides that are in for a certain time or not as close. They're not with you all the time. You're always with somebody. You're never alone. There's always a witness. Which, when you tell people that, like when I give readings, sometimes I'll tell them that, and it scares them because they don't want to witness all the time. But it is true. There is nothing escapes. Nobody gets away with anything because it's all witnessed, and it's all in the Akashic records.
Just read that. It said it's a lot easier to make it up now.
That's
than
right.
to wait until you die if you
That's right.
kind of did something you shouldn't have.
Yeah. Spirit will actually come in seances and say, "We are recording for the Akashic. Is there anything you want to talk about?" Yes, they do. And you can get it. You can tell them about it, and it's like a form of confession. In the old Catholic belief of confession, it's kind of like that. You tell the guides what you've done, and they talk to you about it, and you realize your error, and then you're forgiven, and it doesn't go on the Akashics then. But they do give you that opportunity sometimes.
Whole essay type piece. That's for meditation.
Don't think you don't have to make up for it. Someone I know very well has automatic writing. And this person is user. And someone in spirit, this person got a letter that had about 5 different people's handwriting on it. You could distinguish their handwriting because no, if you do it, which I did know. And this one person said that I should tell my daughter something that she had been waiting to hear. And I had no idea what it was. But this is something that she had said years ago that had influenced my daughter, and my daughter had worried about it all these years. And so she told me to go and tell her about it. So when I talked to her, I told her, and I said, well, is there something you want to know or something? She didn't want to say it. So, but then she said that that was the truth. But this person in the letter said, please tell me because I can't go on until you do it. So don't think it's all crazy when people tell you that.
I have a tape started here, Lori, which I will give you a copy of. I'm making copies now, and I'm going to give, I almost called you Lori, Marilyn, a transcript of what she missed before, so we'll make it all up. Okay, we're talking about guides and the Akashic records. Are you familiar with the Akashic? Everything's witnessed, everything's down. Okay. Sometimes in a seance they will give you the chance to confess it and erase it. And I was just explaining to them that has happened to me many, many times, all the time. You know, Mabel Ripple will come into Reverend Tingley's seances and say, is there anything you want to tell me? And I'll say, yes, I was terrible today, I was negative, I was rotten, I have a terrible temper and I have no patience. And she'll say, I know it. You know, she'll say, I'll erase it, I know it, but they do forgive you. So there is that opportunity. Okay, we're going to go back to meditation, our minute. You have to be passive and move. Tell yourself, peace, be still. Number 1, you relax. Number 2, you visualize. Number 3, you concentrate. So you relax, you wear loose clothing, you wear no shoes. Same place, same time every day. You visualize, you see something beautiful, something that holds beauty for you, whether it's a seascape or a walk in the woods, you visualize that in your mind. Whether it's a person that you love so much. Anything that brings beauty and brings peace to you and love. And then you concentrate on that. You will hear voices eventually. You will hear, it's not, sometimes they're audible, most of the time they're in your mind. They will impress your mind. You will get guidance on your problems that way. It saves a lot of grief than to have to go to someone else and bare your soul. You can do it yourself. Some people are in a position where they can't really go to somebody else. And if we don't all have a seance room available to us, which we don't, it's a good thing to do that because you can solve some of your own problems and get guidance straight from your own guides. And then listen. Pretty soon you'll hear a still small voice. And this voice will come to you at any time and give you guidance. They might even come to you in a grocery store and tell you to pick up crackers. And then I'll tell you an experience why I say that. My guide loves to shop. She loves grocery shopping. She loves to cook. Little Lotus Blossom. And I was in the store one day and she said, get crackers. I said, I have crackers. She said, get crackers. I said, okay. I didn't get the crackers. I was short on money. There was a couple other things she told me to get. So immediately I went over to my parents' house, and my father said, "Gee, you just came from Kroger's. Do you have any crackers?" I said, "No." But the next time she told me, I did pick up the things she told me, and the same thing happened. My father asked me for something, and I had it that time, and I was so proud of myself. I think, hey, that's cool. I listened. But they will tell you all kinds of little things to help you out, to bring joy to your life, and to make it easier. One time, this is another story about guides. I had this blind date, and I was really nervous about it. And he came to the door, and right before he came to the door, it was around Easter time, and Lotus Blossom said, "Put red jelly beans in your pocket, only red." I said, "Okay," so I did it. I said, "Fine, I'll do it." So we get to the show, we went to a movie, and he said, "Do you have any jelly beans?" I said, "Yeah, but I only have red ones." He said, "That's the only kind I like." And it was really funny. I said, "You're not going to believe this." He said, "You're weird." I said, but I mean, there was all kinds of, things like that. Just little things that bring joy, and your guides will do that. And the more you respond to those guides and listen to them, the more they do it, and the easier everything becomes, the more fun, it's beautiful. I told you about the psychic shelf being at the back of the head. Before you do a reading or anything psychic or concentrate, hit that a few times. Don't beat your brains out, but just a little bit more than lightly. Love is the passport to eternity. The whole idea of spiritualism and guides and God is based on love. That is the bottom line. It is the greatest thing. Without the love, you don't have anything.
The outer band, is there any certain number of letters?
No, it's according to what your needs are at the time, and according to how you progress.
That includes the temporary one, the permanent?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Be aware of yourselves, of your body, of your needs. There's a natural ebb and flow. Be responsive to that. In other words, get in touch with yourself.
You mean like meditate?
Yeah, meditate. You'll notice, you'll feel when you meditate that you'll notice your breathing more. You'll notice your heartbeat more, and things like that. And in daily life, if you're having pain or something, do something about it. Don't go on and suffer with it. It's very bad for mediumship to be in pain to suffer. It's very bad for it. So listen to your body, listen to yourself, keep yourself healthy, keep your body clean. All those things are important for mediumship. I know of someone that went down in a seance room and they were dressed terrible. They had no shirt on. It was a man. No shirt on, no shave, no teeth in, and Spirit sent them right out of the room. They said, if you can't come down here with a little respect, or a lot of respect, and you can't be clean, we don't want you here. And they will tell you, they'll tell you to get right out. It is very important to them. They demand respect and they command it. And they need it and they deserve it, And if you think about it, when you go into a seance room, or even in your daily life, you're in the constant presence of God and His angels. So that's a pretty heavy thing to think about. Right now we're loaded here with Spirit. All of us have our guides here, and God knows who all, Also, when people pass over, there will be some new spirits. We noticed a new spirit 2 weeks ago. They will bring new spirits into the seances and things to learn from a class like this, because they do not have the learning from their own life, so they learn on the other side, and they will bring them in to show them. So they learn from us. Our guides progress as we progress. The more we progress, the more aware we are of God's presence and of the Spirit Guide's presence, the higher they go. Yes, we help them, they help us, and that's how it goes. Of course, guides are smarter than we are. They have more available to them. They have more time, if you want to call it time, more capability to work on things, because we are bound by the mundane. We get engrossed in the physical. We don't give the time that we should to our spiritual lives. We really should set aside more time to meditate, to think about spiritual things, just to ponder them. I don't mean you have to go into a deep meditation all the time. I'm saying that it takes 10 minutes to sit down in a chair and think about things, or especially if you're having a negative situation. Think it through first, and then say, is it going to matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, forget it. Let it go.
Could you tell what would be the requirements if you wanted to build your own dance room or make it?
Any dark room, as long as there is no light, and you can seal all the doors.
From the light?
From the light, yes. And also have a lock on it from the inside so that no one can come in, because it could kill you if they come in, if anybody shows a light.
Should you be alone or have to have somebody there?
It depends on your progression. It's better to have somebody there. When you meditate, it's good to be alone. It's also good to have a group meditation. But
I
in a
do it
seance
alone,
room,
that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
that's fine. A bathroom is a perfect place to study trumpet mediumship, to sit, as we call it. A bathroom is great because it usually has a lock on the inside. It's dark, and you can seal it. There shouldn't be any light whatsoever. No light, because you won't get results, for one thing. And another thing is, it can kill you. The water will draw a vibration. Good to do that on a stormy night. You'll find, for those of you that give readings, that on a stormy, watery night, there's more vibrations in the air. There's more electrical energy. It's a good way to cleanse your trumpet, as long as we're talking about that. For those of you that have trumpets, to put them out in an electrical storm with water and with the lightning, put them on your back porch and let the storm cleanse them, and then don't let anybody touch them. The same way with crystals. Don't let anybody touch your crystals. Soak your crystals in salt water after 3 days, and then don't let anybody touch them. Because those are your vibrations, and you don't want them sullied. Those are for your guides to work with and nobody else. I see people passing crystals around and stuff from hand to hand. I don't like it, because to me it mixes the vibrations, and who knows what kind of vibrations you're going to receive by handling that kind of stuff. So anyway, keep it to yourself, It's yours.
Out in the water, what, just lay them down or set them to
Set them straight up and let
I
the...
wasn't sure to the earth.
Yeah, set them straight up and let the water in the electrical energy come down them. Also, before you use them, like if you're sitting in a dark session or you're sitting by yourself, turn on the light. Put a magnetized band on them. Not too much. A little bit of luminescent paint will do the trick, as long as you can see something so that you know that trumpet's up in the air. That's what it's for. It's not to draw spirit. The more lights on it, the worse results you'll have, because it blocks spirit. It takes away from their energy. You'll notice, like I told you a minute ago, that a certain state of consciousness when you're meditating will make you more aware of yourself. Not only physically, but spiritually and mentally aware. Develop your self-will. Be kind to your body, protect it, and you must have an even balance between the spiritual and the physical. You have to have spiritual growth along with the physical in order to be happy, to balance out in God's plan of things. You see all these people, and they might have all the money in the world, but they're not happy. And the reason is because they have neglected the spiritual aspects. And that is really the most important. You can also see a very poor person who is extremely happy because they have contacted the spirit side. And they have developed that. Don't ever be afraid. Don't allow fear to interfere with your mediumship. When you are afraid, you send spirit away. If they know, it's just like anything. If you walked up to somebody and said hi, and they said, "Oh my God," wouldn't you leave? I mean, really? I would. I'd say, forget it. I don't need it, And that's the way they feel. Don't allow fear to interfere. Be grateful. One thing I always tell people is that if they weren't afraid of a person when they were in the physical body, why would they be afraid of them when they're in spirit? They're so much better than they were in the physical, It's natural. It's a natural law for them to be better. They get schooling over there. They get teaching. And they learn. And so I would never be afraid of a spirit, because I know that by sending out good things, you get only good back. So there would only be good spirits around us, like here at the church. We had a faction in this church a few years back that said, there are evil spirits here, and nothing made me madder than to hear that. They went around spreading salt through the whole place to cleanse it. Now that really made me mad. I went around and cleaned up the salt, I don't know how many hundreds of times, and I said, don't ever do it again, but they would sneak in here and do it. It was the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of, because this is a magnetized point. This is a light to spirit. It has been for years. They know it as a spiritualist church. They see the light coming from it. They see the lights coming from the individuals that are here, and they know it is good. The only way you're going to attract an evil spirit is if you're evil yourself. And that is why it is good to avoid low-life evil people, especially when you are developing your mediumship, because as a medium you will pick up on those vibrations. You will automatically become subject to it. You will find yourself saying and doing things that are like that person without even wanting to be that way, without even being that way. But you are so sensitive, you're like a spiritual sponge. You will pick it up. And you will act on it unconsciously because you are a medium. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. That is 1 Corinthians 12th chapter. I think it's the 12th verse. I'm not even sure. Maybe it's 1 through 12. 1 through 12, I think it is. Read that when you get a chance. It tells about the different spiritual gifts. Spiritual gifts are from the Holy Spirit. We all have them to different degrees. Don't ever compare your mediumship to somebody else. Don't ever be jealous. In the first place, it'll ruin your mediumship. It'll hold you back. It'll hurt you. In the second place, there's nothing to be jealous of because everybody's different. Just like every one of us here looks different. But we're all good people. I mean, we all look nice, but we're all different. So that, according to spiritual gifts, some people might have more of a talent for something than another person and vice versa. But it all works out. We're meant to have what we're suited for. Our guides know what we're suited for. Reverend Tingley used to say, don't puddle, which meant don't go from one gift to another and keep running. You don't have scattered energies. You have a focus, which makes sense. But I never knew what my focus was because I wanted all of them. And that's just, now I have more of a focus, but it took me years to get to that point. So what I did, instead of wanting all of them, I just said, okay, guides, you know more than I do about it. You know more what I'm suited for than I do. So you just develop whatever, and I just let it in their hands. I put it in God's hands because I did not know. There are so many spiritual gifts that it would be hard to decide which one. You might have a natural inclination towards something, then follow it. Follow that. We'll be going into some different forms of mediumship as the class progresses from week to week. Tonight we'll have one more dark session, and then we're going to go into clairvoyance and clairaudience and flame cards, precipitation, all those things. And the rest of that quote from the Bible is, "To every man is given the manifestation of spirit to profit withal." So everybody has it. It's like a rosebud. It's all there. The full rose is there, but it has to unfold petal by petal according to your progression. The more focused you are mentally on spirit and on God, the more you will progress. Your progression can be just like that. You can wake up one morning and be a full-fledged medium. It doesn't happen often, but it can happen. You can also be in this church, and studying for 50 years and not have a thing, because of your thoughts and your mind and your real dedication to it, if you have it or not. Sure. Sure, you can go out of body and your guides will take you. That's right, you learn in spirit. That's right, you do. You learn at night. That's a good point. Spirit will take you out of your body. They will take you to schools on the other side, and they will teach you. I've had that happen myself. I've remembered those soul trips, and I've had it. And so I have a friend in Sandusky that has that happen quite often. She's so busy, she doesn't have time to really devote as much as she would like to. She devotes quite a bit, but not as much as she'd like to. So they really take her out of body and take her to these schools, and she learns. I am freezing in here. Oh, my teeth are chattering. Okay. Clairvoyance
is there anything you can do to help that along?
Yeah, yes. Live a good Christian life. Be loving to yourself, first of all, and to everybody you come in contact with. Be as loving as you can. Sit down and think about it. If there's somebody that is really bothering you and they seem... Love conquers all. It really does. It's a hard thing to love your enemies, but it's an important thing because by doing that, you're helping yourself. Yeah, you really are. Because if you hate someone or you're really negative, you're just starting chemicals in your own body that are ruining your mediumship. So, and spirit puts those chemicals in. Your spirit guides are probably working on you at night, on every one of us here, and putting chemicals in your body. If you ever have a real funny taste in your mouth and you can't explain it, that is spirit putting the chemicals in. They put them in your food. They put them in your water. They'll put them directly into your body. And when we have negative emotions and we set up those chemicals of negativity in our bodies, it affects that. It takes away the mediumship. So the best way is to be joyous, and joy is the secret of life. It's the secret of living is to be joyous, no matter what the situations are. And I told you before, the more you progress, the more the negative comes right along, just like a railroad track, side by side. But you also have the spirit help to overcome it. So the best way is to be joyous, be loving to yourself and to everybody you come in contact with, as best as you can. It's not easy. Forgiving, yes. Yes, very forgiving. And bless the person. If they do something wrong to you, bless them. I have an ex-husband that it took me years to say it sincerely. He's done some really good, great things, and it took me years. But I finally, after, it's like to be and to become. It's like if you do it enough times, it becomes real. And it becomes sincere. Because the subconscious is a slave It's a computer. It'll, whatever you put in there, it'll manifest. Okay, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsentience. That's see, hear, and feel. You all probably have that from the last class. And everybody has those three gifts to some degree. Everybody does. Now I'm telling you all the good things on how to become really good mediums, and I know you're going to be. But I want to warn you against self-pride. Give the credit to God where it belongs, because the minute you become prideful, you lose it. It'll take it away faster than you got it. It takes a lot of perseverance and to hang in there for years, maybe, and maybe not so long. It depends on the individual. But it's worth it in the end. But if you become proud and say, I'm better than so-and-so or whatever, you'll lose it. It's a defeat. Sacrifice as much time as you can for your meditation and spiritual studies. As much time as you can possibly do. Do your pineal exercises and your other exercises, like if you go to a restroom during the day when you're at your job or whatever. Just don't do it in front of people so they don't lock you up. But do those things and call on your guides. A lot of you, I know, have difficult work situations, with a lot of stress. Call on your guides during those times and they'll help you. You do your exercises as often as you can, because it really does work. It'll bring it out in you. There is no time or space in spirit. That's a hard concept for us. It is for me, anyway. That is right. I mean, there's no. I mean, you could, it's every. Spirit is the spirit, huh?
World within world.
Yes, it's concentric layers. The spirit world and the physical world are concentric layers, which concentric means like my hand is concentric over this hand, like that. They overlap. The spirit planes are concentric. And so spirit, right now, in this room as we speak, there could be a spirit band, like a musical band playing, and we wouldn't even hear it. There can be spirits walking through here right now that don't see us, because they're in a different rate of vibration. It's just different rates of vibration, the worlds are, the planes. The phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expressions of infinite intelligence. You want me to repeat that?
Yeah.
The phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expressions of infinite intelligence. We affirm that the correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith is true religion. In other words, in order to have balance and happiness in your life, you have to develop both the physical and spiritual, like I told you before. That's what that is saying. You have to be in harmony with both worlds, in harmony with yourself, first of all. If you're in harmony with yourself, you can really deal with whatever life hands you. You know, you can really take it philosophically and deal with it whatever way you have to. So we need God and nature for balance. A good book to read is The Unobstructed Universe by Stuart White. A good book to read is The Unobstructed Universe by Stuart White. Any book, when you go into a bookstore, any book that you're attracted to, who was it here that has books fall out? Isn't it you, Shirley? Yeah. And you do too. They will jump right out at you sometimes. You know why? Because your guys are shoving them out. So you get them. Anything that you're particularly interested in, it might not be exactly spiritualism, but it might have something in there. I'm not saying that you should read a book and accept it verbatim, word for word. I would not do that. I would accept the gold and silver threads that run through it and take what I could from it, what was good for me, and leave the rest. That's how to read a book. Don't take it as gospel. There are some things that are not quite. Order of the White Brotherhood was created to get away from the turbulent conditions of the masses. I'll repeat that. The Order of the White Brotherhood was created to get away from the turbulent conditions of the masses. I don't think things have changed all that much. The White Brotherhood was created a long, long time ago, before Christ, or around that time, right around that time of Christ. We still have governments in control that would really like to see spiritualism wiped out. That happened a few years ago. A lot of you weren't here then. But there was a bill before Congress that lumped spiritualism along with witchcraft and the black arts. Just one lump sum. Yes, they do. Government people do not understand it mostly. And if they had their way, they had a bill pending. I think it was Claude Pepper. Wasn't it, Corinne? Yeah, we all wrote letters. We all are documented against it. They dropped the bill. What? It was about 7 years ago, something like that. Yeah. And they were going to close down all the spiritualist churches if they could and everything like that because they lumped it with witchcraft. So we're still facing government control, turbulent conditions, and not as free as we should be in
It wasn't really closing them down. What it was saying that they were not eligible to be exempt from taxation.
Yeah.
Because they were not really God's churches. They were,
Yeah, Satan, other.
And normally a church could be taxed exempt, but they said that should exclude those that were in the occult because they were not really the same thing. But it was overturned. There were so many letters and protests and everything in defense.
Which I thought was really funny that they would even introduce such a thing because Abraham Lincoln had a seance in the White House. It's still there. The trumpet still sits on the table. So, where are they? They aren't doing their homework. I don't know what they think that is.
Maybe it was for all the cults that take kids and brainwash them.
Sure, but it was lumping them all together with spiritualism. They did not make any distinction. Yeah, that's what it was, and it would have. Go on.
It was because there was